Now let's look at the two methods which are used for finding out the premiums. Yesterday in our session we have looked at if the premium was this for call versus put, where there was an arbitrage opportunity. How do I identify arbitrage opportunities and something like that. Now, how do I decide that premium itself? How do I compute that premium itself? There are two kinds of methods that are available. One is this binomial tree approach, which actually follows a discrete kind of an approach, whereas the second one is a Black-Scholes, where it follows a continuous movement. Discrete means probably it takes end of the period prices only, probably after 1 week, a weekly increase or probably a daily increase. So it takes actually the discrete kind of intervals and does the find out what should be the price of this option, what should be the premium for this option. So what you can very well do is, once you know okay this should be the premium, you'll check with the market. Is the market available at a higher price than this or at a lower price than this? Based on that you will take your buy sell decisions, right? And this formula, whatever the binomial tree model or a Black-Scholes model are going to drive with, they have so many assumptions which were built into each one of them, and only when those all assumptions are true, we'll find the applicabilities of these formulas more and more relevant to the real world. But what you typically see is today in the market, these formulas are playing a key role for the people to typically do their trading also in the options. Even yesterday we have seen the call put parity relationship was playing a big role in terms of identifying some kind of arbitrage opportunities or mispricing opportunities based on which you can typically place your trades. So the way this binomial tree model is focusing on is, what it typically is doing is, first thing, today you know what is the stock price. What it is saying is, predict the stock prices, let's say on the option expiry date 29th. Predict the stock price on 29th of August. I mean, this is, there are two possibilities that can happen. So this always goes with only two states. Either the price may go up or it may go down on an average. On an average, the price may go, let's say today it is 2935. What it may say is, on an average, it may go to 3000 if it is on the upper side, or it may go to 2850 on the downward side. So that is the kind of average figure, right? Probably there is some probability that it may go to 3200, some probability that it may go to 3100. So or some probability that it may go to 2950. Looking at all those things, if I take an average of all those, weighted average of all those, on an average it will touch 3000. Same way on the downward side. So what we are saying is, on 29th August, there is some price here. There is some price. This is not about option. This is about the underlying security, stock. Infosys, based on today's price 2935, I am saying that after or on 29th August, it may go either to on the upper side or on the lower side. We are predicting the growth. On what basis we will predict the growth? Based on the volatility of the security, right? Based on how the security has been fluctuating over the past 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever is our time period which we are interested in. Based on how the stock has been fluctuating in the last few periods, using that, we will try to project these two prices. The typical way people suggest, if it has to be a risk neutral kind of a model, the simple suggestion which people give is when you are trying to predict the upward price, you multiply it with e power sigma root t. Sigma is the volatility of the security, the standard deviation of Infosys. Nothing to do with option right now. Option we'll talk about it later. But right now, the stock's volatility you take and multiply it with sigma root t. T is nothing but time to maturity. So probably 12 days, whatever we are going with, those many days to maturity. So sigma, if you know whatever is the annual volatility, multiply it with root t, which is also in the annual terms in number of years. So that will give you the upward movement of the stock price. Same way, probably if you multiply it with e power minus sigma root t, which is the downward side. So you will predict what is the average upward movement, what is the average downward movement on that day, right? So let me take the example directly that can simplify the things for you. Okay, I've taken a simple data set of the price of Infosys, right? So what is the latest price? So the current stock price as of today, I want to find out the value of the option. So I'll go with the current stock price. So the current stock price, which is the today's price, is this, right? There is some difference there. Okay, whatever. Okay, the current stock price is this one. Is this the same? 2985. Okay, leave it. So assume that 2978 is the current stock price. Now what I am saying is I will find out one number here, which is for 29th August. I will try to find out what could be the price if it goes up, what could be the price if it goes down. So because it is taking only two states up and down, we call this as a binomial tree. So probably I can take within one step, I can find out the prices on 29th August, or probably let's say if 29th August is 12 days, what I can do is, okay, first let me project for first 6 days and then for the next 6 days, right? Or probably I may say, why not project for 12 days separately, one days. That will increase the size of your tree, because if I have to do it, let's say for let's say taking 6 days together. So after 6 days, there could be an increase to this price, or there could be a decrease to this price. After another 6 days, probably it may go here, it may come here, it may come here. Which means after 12 days, I have three possibilities with three probabilities. So, okay, now I say why 6 days gap? Let me take only 1 day gap. If that's the case, I'll get 12 branches like this. This would be day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So I'll get a big tree. So sometimes to get more and more accuracy levels, people will increase the size of the tree. Because one, on the final maturity day, you will get more options, more probabilities, right? More stock prices possibilities will come out. Whereas in this model, only two prices are possible on the maturity date. So the accuracy levels will be slightly lesser. This is called as a one period binomial tree model. This is 2 period because you are making two different time periods is what we are taking. Like that, you can take it as a 100 period, 1000 period kind of binomial tree model, right? Okay, now the first step in any binomial tree model is first predict the prices here. As I said, the predicting can happen based on volatility. So for that, I have to find out the volatility of this particular securities return. So let me take a log normal returns Continuously compounded returns is what I have to take. So I'll take a continuously compounded daily return. This log this divided by this. It's a continuously compounded daily return. All right. So these are the continuously compounded daily returns for me. So based on this, I can find out the standard deviation, right? Okay. Daily standard deviation. Daily standard deviation, if I am finding out, okay, daily standard deviation is around 2.32%, right? And from this, if I have to find out annual standard deviation from a daily standard deviation, you multiply daily standard deviation into square root of the number of days whatever you are observing, because these are only working days for last 1 year. Probably I can count how many days are there. If I just want to count, there are 250 days, right? So probably I can go with taking it as square root of 250. So anytime, anything you want to convert one period standard deviation into another period standard deviation, you find out how many days are there or how many periods are there within that bigger period, and multiply it with square root of that, because the variance will change with the actual value. So standard deviation will change always with the square root of that kind of number of periods. So here I am saying my annual standard deviation will be this number times the square root of 250, which is around 36.73% is the annual volatility that is present in Infosys stock. Now, again, from a practical standpoint, there are so many other things that are typically done. Some outliers will be removed because there could be few days where the performance would have been very much horrible. Infosys was a classic example for recently, where one single day there was a stock price drop of 22%. So because of these kind of scenarios, you may find some extremities. So probably there is one more way which people work out, because the maturity is just another 12 days. So probably why not find out the standard deviation from a very recent small data itself? Why do you want 1 year data to find out standard? Those are all practical issues. Whatever is the period you are considering, you consider that period. So if I'm looking at, let's say, only the last few days, probably last 1 month, right? Let's say only up from July 16th is what I'm taking. Only last 1 month data is what if I'm taking. The daily standard deviation is working out to much lesser. You see, almost half, right? And the relevance always will be very nearest kind. And that too, if your maturity is, again, as a benchmark, I'm telling you, your maturity is just 2 weeks away. So even past 2 weeks data is very much sufficient. And past 2 weeks data is much more relevant than past 1 year data. But if your option is expiring in another 6 months, it's better to have last 6 months data to take the volatility. So from a reality standpoint, people match the days. Approximately, it should match up with those many number of days, because that would be a better reflection for the immediate future. So okay, so from here, if I am computing the annual standard deviation, this also is becoming square root of 250. So assuming 18.14 only as the annual standard deviation, right? What we are saying here, the upward price, you will find it out as, okay, I'll take the upward and the downward factors like this. E power sigma root T. Okay, so what is E power sigma root T is what? Time to maturity. Either we take it, better we take it in terms of working days itself. We have 9 more working days out of 250. So I'll take it as 9 divided by 250. So my upward factor is to the extent of 1.03 and downward factor e power minus sigma root t. E power minus sigma root t. So what it is saying, if it goes up, it can go by around 3.5% based on how it has been fluctuating over the last few days, last 1 month. If it goes up, it can go up by 3.5%. If it goes down, it will go down by this much percentage. So what are we saying? On 29th August, the possibilities of the prices are this into this much. So on the upward side, it may go up to, on an average, it may go up to 3082. On the downward side, it can go up to 2877. So it may go even below that also. But all downs average probability, it's as simple as look at like this. Okay, it is going down. On the days it is going down, what is the chance, what value will be reached, and take an expected value of that. So on an average, it can touch 2877. On an average, on the higher side, it can touch 3082. So it may be 3200 also on there is a possibility. But on the average of all those possible moves is somewhere around to 3082. This is the first step in any kind of binomial tree creation process. Now, okay, here if I have to create it, the two step also I'll do it parallelly. So 9 days, 9 working days are there, which means each tree is 4.5 working days. If I break it into two parts, each tree is almost like a 4.5 working day. So what I will do, I will find out the same upward factor and downward factor using t as 4.5. So what could that number be? E power sigma square root 4.5 by 250. 2.4%.